on the other side of the bracket. Again, lots of very strong competition down there. Our first matchup is going to be a telling one, though, for how maybe some of these teams have developed since the end of the last split. We've got Team SOLOMID versus Rogue. Rogue, one of the teams definitely needing to get some points as we head into the beginning of Split 2. Team SOLOMID, on the other hand, guaranteed their championship spot.
Yeah,
they already know what's going on.
They already know they're going to be at the live championships. What they want to get is the ability to be in the first or second seed from North America, because top 2 seeds from each region get a first-round bye. And that is crucial. That is a lot of playing you don't have to do. You don't have to worry about. You're automatically into the second day of the event.
All right, well, let's have a look at Team SOLOMID's roster right now. We've got Flash X, Best Chuck NA, Von C, Starboy, and Bladeheart 92.
Not much to say about these guys that hasn't already been said. Incredibly consistent, always performing. I mean, you can see it just in the point standings. They're just always up at the top. Rarely ever have to use those substitutes. So it's just always consistent play.
Absolutely, and their opponents for today are going to be Rogue. We've got Evol, Hammy, Sibs, and Graskun.
Yeah, don't sleep on this team, guys. They have been practicing all last week, or this past week, 9 hours a day, because Sibs is on spring break. So they should come out in full form and pretty strong. I mean, you can see them run a lot of early game comps now, and they've adapted so well, and they're very versatile.
So do you think we might see a very different Rogue today then? Because obviously, historically, they've been a good team. Maybe not one of the teams that are just breakout performers. But if they have more time, obviously Sibs is a young guy, for example, that could be what they need.
It could be. It's still a tough matchup against Team SOLOMID. This is a team that has a lot of experience with these players as well. You know, I know in the past they've been scrim partners. Not sure if that's the case leading into this week because of the matchup right here on week 5, but still a lot of knowledge between these two teams on each other, which can lead to some pretty interesting drafts.
All right, well, speaking of drafts, we've got draft number 1 for you guys. Kicking off, it is Team SOLOMID versus Rogue. TSM on A side, banning away Lyra, with Rogue answering Adagio.
Well, that was awfully quick to get those two out of the way. The 2 healers taken off the board. Lance going to be the priority, and Finn, actually, from Rogue.
Yeah, I love the Finn pick, because Finn actually is pretty good into Lance, especially late game, because Lance can't move him, he's immovable, etc. So that's a really good pick from Rogue. However, they are opting for a more late game comp, so they need to ban away early game aggression, like Koshka, etc., away from TSM. So Grumpjaw is actually really strong with Lance. He's very strong early. So let's see if TSM... Oh, TSM's going to ban Glaive. So Rogue here, I think they need to... If they're going to give TSM Koshka, they need to pick something that's going to counter it very well.
Or take Koshka themselves.
That could work too. But Koshka's not that good into Lance when a team knows how to leverage Lance.
That was really something that was a big lesson learned in the final week of Vainglory 8 Split 1, right? We saw a lot of
the
Lance,
downfall of Koshka.
Yeah, beating Koshka's out. So got to be careful of that one. Oh, okay, so we were talking about mages coming back into the meta a little bit. I know that some of the members on Rogue do really like that Celeste.
Yeah, Celeste is a good pick here. However, Taka is open, and with Lance, Taka, or even Koshka here, they can snowball Celeste pretty hard. She is very strong in the late game, so if Rogue can make it to late game, they'll be fine. So TSM might opt for an assassin here to get onto Celeste. Yep, the Tasha will be picking, and I think they'll go for Gwen, because Tensionable Gwen with Koshka and Lance is extremely strong early, and they're going to shut down Rogue in early game.
This is a very strong early game composition. It's one that you have to have a little bit of concern, because if Team SOLOMID doesn't destroy Rogue in the early game, this is one that Rogue can very easily just kind of stall out and get to the late game. With the Kestrel coming through, though, this is going to be interesting as to where they're going to put each hero, because you have to assume it's going to be Celeste out of the jungle.
We haven't seen a tremendous amount of Kestrel being super successful against Gwen. How's it going to do against the Koshka Lance?
Yeah, they have to basically get a good pull with a Kestrel stun and then a Celeste stun. This is an old comp that used to be really strong back in spring of last year. The Celeste Kestrel Finn was dominating because late game was so strong. So as long as they can make it to late game, they might have a chance.
Yeah, I was just going to mirror that sentiment. There's not much else to say to it. It's all about the late game. It's all about setting up those combos. And for Team SOLOMID, the reflex blocks are going to be crucial. And just winning early, so look for a lot of early aggression.
Just how key is it that Team SOLOMID win the early game? If they're kind of like even early and then they start getting an advantage mid, is that okay? Or do they not have enough time then to actually close things out? before those power spikes?
Generally, they won't have enough time. If it goes to like the mid game and they just have a small lead or are just fairly close to even, like Rogue late game, the damage from the Koshka and Lance being the captain, is his damage as well is going to fall off. The Gwen can scale up pretty well, but like I said, by the time the late game comes around, the damage ramp up from the Kestrel, from the Celeste is just going to be immense.
And how did Rogue actually get there then? Like, how do they do well in the early game when they have such a weak early game in comparison?
Yeah, they cannot give a turret before the 8-minute mark. They have to be played very safe when Koshka hits level 6 power spike. When Gwen gets attention ball at 3 minutes, which Chuck will probably get attention ball at 3-minute mark, they need to play very cautious. Celeste cannot overextend in lane. Kestrel needs to be able to rotate and get her jungle quicker than Koshka can rotate down and take her jungle. So they need to play very reactive in the early game and just counter exactly what TSM wants to do, is get a kill in lane or catch Kestrel in jungle and then shove the lane to get a turret early. So they need to shut that down.
Is there anything build-wise that we might see interesting here? Obviously, on the new update, we did see some interesting builds over in Europe.
I don't think there's going to be anything too out of the ordinary. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward.
If Lance plays this, Flash might do this. He might rush attention ball on Lance and just push the early game even harder.
Oh, okay.
So that'd be very interesting if he decides to do that.
All right, well, give me your predictions for game number 1 here.
Team solo mid, unfortunately for Rogue.
Yeah, TSM, they're so good at the early game, and they're Sponty and Koshko is just dominating. So TSM.
All right, well, let's see if they can make this one happen. For your casters today, it's the return of Humanist and Jingyi.
All right, thank you very much, Jackson and the boys. I'll take that one from Dowsey and Jaws. We are into the game. This is going to be pretty lit right here. I'm joined with Xingyi. We heard the analysts talk about this. Do you agree with what they said, how this game's going to play out?
Yes, I am going to agree with them. It's TSM are looking very strong. We're seeing a lot of the comfort picks coming out from them. Gwen, Best Chuck NA, and then Koshka and Von C. You know, he made that Koshka famous during Worlds, and he's been playing a lot in the past split. I have every inch of confidence in him.
Oh my lord. I am happy to be in here. And to have TSM Rogue, what a matchup to hop back into the casting schedule. So very excited. Right off the bat, though, we can see that Rogue really not looking to do anything aggressive. They're going to hang back, just get that defensive farm rotation out of the jungle. Von C happy to take that Elder Treant and maybe even try to take the mid away from Rogue as well, though Sibs gets that scout trap down. He knows what's happening. Should see Von C moving in over here. Although he's going to get jumped on. Von C getting some damage down. Flash with a wild impale. I don't know about that one. Sibs trading the damage. Should he get it? Oh, he gets the first blood right there. Happy to do so. Now it's going to be Flash chased out of the jungle here. Rogue with the first blood.
That's exactly what they need to be doing. We need to be seeing strong rotations coming out from Rogue. Just stay in the early game. They're playing very much a late game composition with that Celeste and with that Finn as well. So if they can like prevent Von C from invading as he was doing, then it just keeps him in for a little bit longer. And I actually wasn't expecting Sibs to survive that.
I wasn't either, and it looked like Flash just completely misread the situation. I don't know if that's your perspective as well. Is that impale? I called it a wild impale, but it seemed like he was just kind of reading where he thought Sibs might move and just completely misread it.
Well, Sibs was doing a really good job of dodging Von C, and actually it looked quite funny for a bit because a lot of the glimmer shots were actually missing Von C for a little bit, but he was doing a really good job of like dodging Flash X and dodging Von C. He was able to pick up the kill, and especially a Koshka going to Kestrel, that should be an easy matchup for Von C there, and it just didn't work that time.
I really like what Sibs is doing. We can see right now he's just getting straight into weapon damage. There's no boots, nothing else coming out on his build here, and he's not trying to be very mobile in these fights, right? He's just trying to farm as quickly as possible, and if they do engage, he has that damage to put down.
Yeah, well, 15 to Von C's 19. We're not seeing any more invasions come out from Von C. Like you said, it's all about just trying to clear that farm as quickly as possible, go up to lane, give Hammy a hand, because I think the analysts touched on this for Europe, that we are seeing the return of the Crystal Mages. We haven't really seen much of them before. It's very much weapon dependent before, and it's good seeing Celeste having a comeback. But heroes that are always really good against these Crystal Mages were assassins, like Koshka, like Taka. We don't see a Taka this game. And once she gets that lockdown, it is going to make things difficult for Hammy.
All right, well, Sibs getting threatened again here as Flash and Von C making the rotation. Oh, he jumps in Jazzy Fun over the wall. Hammy's down. Best Chuck getting some pretty good damage out. They can't trade back. Sibs, you are in a bad place. 2 kills for Team SOLOMID. A little bit cleaner of a fight for them there.
It was very nicely done, though. We just saw them jump, just the over the wall jump, just completely took them by surprise. I think Hammy tried to land the core collapse, didn't really work. Partly you have to look at the mobility coming up from Von C, but also if you look at TSM, all 3 of them were in super close range. I just don't think they really knew how to cope, because if you're right in Rogue's faces, that is not a place where you want to be if you're a Rogue.
Caught me off guard. I mean, of course, you know, the Koshka has that ability. I thought maybe they were just kind of like reading the situation a little bit, but it was really smart. I liked what Von C did there. So they strike back and up 2 kills to 1 here, 4.5 minutes into this game. Net worth pretty even. Von C making a rotation up here. Yummy Cat Frenzy, why does he have this already? That's not right. Hammy, oh, he used to be alive, now gone. This is going to be a little pressure here up in the lane. Sibs was back to base, so he's going to have to go ahead and run out here. Just phenomenal rotation.
Yeah, absolutely. And Evil's stuck in a bit of a tough place. He was about to go home, pick up that fountain, but he's stuck there with 1,800 gold until someone gets to that lane. We do see Sibs sneaking up there. But that was what we want to be seeing from Von C. There is no, well, there's a reflex block on Sibs, but there's nothing on Hammy there, and you do have to be careful, especially with so much lockdown in the hands of TSM. And they were playing so much for the early game. We're seeing Best Chuck NA picking up that tension bow. We've seen quite a few Gwens today. Not all of them went for the tension bow, some of them went for the Sorrow Blade. If you're going for the tension bow, you want to be able to apply that pressure, which some of the European teams weren't able to do with that tension bow.
Yeah. And also, you know, he's going against a very squishy jungler, a very squishy laner. If you get on target, you should be able to blow him up pretty well. I think we're seeing that happening right now. Von C, Flash making the rotation up into lane one more time. One shot's going to connect onto Von C. Doesn't look like we're going to see a full engage here, as both teams pretty aware of what's happening. Although Sibs is just kind of a dangerous place. It's going to be boots activated. Core collapse was down defensively just in case. Best Chuck continues to poke onto this turret here. Now, this is going to be a Rogue just trying to buy a little bit of time. Von C just jumping back again, completely zoning Sibs out for making any sort of sneaky rotations around the bottom side of this fight. Again, he jumps forward. Sibs is down below. Yeah, he's below 50% health just off this harassment here. Now, Hammy's stunned up. You got to get back. A lot of action happening. They just dive right in. Look at that damage coming out of Best Chuck. And that's another kill. 4-1. Team SOLOMID know what they're doing here. Von C gets Sibs on the backside. Come on, have some mercy, guys.
I feel like I shouldn't be laughing.
No, let me do the laughing. You do the analyzing.
Okay, thanks. Well, they dead. They dead.
They dead.
Well, that's what they were. You know, Flash X, he's the roam, went in with the impale, and he just took so much health of Hammy. I mean, they're the same level. There is a major level discrepancy between the two teams now. And actually, the gold, there's a little bit of a small gold difference. It's only 1.4k. Maths. I don't know why I did that, but
well, Shingy, our analyst talked about the scaling of both of these compositions, right? And getting into the late game, Rogue are going to be pretty insane with what they can accomplish. Oh, they have very obvious like wombo combo potential. Besides that, how do these fights really play out for them?
Well, we kind of pointed at the start when we saw Von C going for the early invasion onto Sibs. That was actually a really good move from Rogue, but unfortunately it looks like TSM have really gotten to the swing of things. What they need to be doing is just play super defensively, just rely on Hammy's core collapse, supernovas, have Sibs just poke out the glimmer shots. Right now I just don't think they can do too much. They just need to lose that turret and just pull back and defend. And if they can make it to the late game, once Hammy reaches level 8 and just gets a little bit more items, and I think that's when they can start picking their fights. But for now, they just need to let TSM aggress onto them.
Well, TSM is aggressing, and that's going to be turret down, so net worth starting to build up. Gold miner will be going their way as well. Although it was pretty clear, Rogue knew exactly, I mean, it's exactly what you said. We're not going to go ahead and try to defend this turret with our lives. We can't stop it. We just have to continue to try and get some levels, get some gold. And, when they get the level 8, maybe on Finn, the level 8 coming out of Celeste, maybe they look to try and make a stand. Hopefully, at that point, they're not too far behind in the network.
Yeah, I think part of the issue is, if you're looking at the roams, Finn, he's actually not seen that much gameplay, and I think part of the reason is mobility-wise, it seems super obvious, but if you compare it to Lance, where you have so much just ability to gap close, to stun people. And you look at that Finn and the Koshka matchup, and you're just like, I just don't see that working. And you look at Best Chuck NA going to that Finn as well, and you're like, you know, if he gets pulled in, you can just skedaddle it, you can block it. It's quite difficult for Evil to try and just catch them out, which is what this composition is about. It's about Evil just taking advantage of any missteps that TSM are doing and capitalizing on that.
I mean, there's certain heroes in the game that, you know, personally, when I'm playing Finn, I don't really want to pull. Gwen and Lance, definitely a couple of those heroes. It's just, the escape mechanics are very strong. Best Chuck, he's in a bad place. Sib's lighting him up, but he misses a couple glimmers there at the end. One shot. Well, that's going to connect onto Flash, but after their Sentry is defeated, 2 lives remaining on that. But another successful rotation out of TSM.
Very successful. They're just sticking it so well as a team right now. If you're looking at the CS, Chuck NA 102 to Hammy's 79. That's quite a big difference, and we're actually seeing Hammy stick up in lane quite a lot, so we'd be expecting it to be a bit higher than it actually is. So he's got the Frostburn. I really like that. Always see a Celeste going for a Frostburn first, my variation. But I think when you're going against a very mobile composition that TSM have picked together, you need that Frostburn to help slow it down. You can use it defensively, offensively. But right now, we're just not really seeing the Helios have that much effect. The core collapses aren't really landing again because of the mobility. And Solar Storm is not going to be hitting too much right now. Oh, there they go.
Oh, yeah, their boots forward. Impale's going to be off the mark here. Kobo comes through. Not too much damage, even with that turret going out onto TSM. Sibs your stealth up just enough stealth to get him out of harm's way there as Von C was looking for a kill. And one shot's gonna come through, lands on the Best Chuck. Evol's trying to stand forward for his team. You can see when Sibs does connect with those glimmer shots, it's pretty good damage. They're gonna pull Flash back. He activates that Crucible, trying to get back there, holding the found self found. They get him. Rogue making the plays here.
Oh, they're looking so healthy. Evil's 3/4. Hammy and Sibs haven't lost anything. They just lost a bit of energy, and I think they're in a really good position to try and take this gold mine back. Just balance that gold discrepancy a little bit. They're about 5k behind. This should help just equalize it a little bit. And this is, I think, what we're beginning to see them in terms of composition coming into their power spikes. But I think a lot of it does come down to gameplay. I think their movements as a team aren't as good as TSM's. Sibs, what are you doing, Sibs?
Sibs knows what he's doing, all right? This
I
man,
know.
I never
I
question
know.
him. Actually, I do. But don't tell him.
He knows.
Sibs, he's gonna
He
go ahead and get
knows.
that mid there. Von C trying to steal it again. Sibs says, I don't think so, mate. Looks like he'll be able to get his backs as well. So very good for the Kestrel here. Like you said, power spikes, they're starting to come online here. Net worth is not in their favor, but they're not so far behind where they can't really execute. So I think, once again, we're going to be looking for a nice force to cord, something to set this up here. Although I don't think Flash is going to be getting caught again very easily. One shot does land onto Flash. Full adrenaline stacks for Kestrel as he looks for a target moving forward here. No, this is just kind of a poke game right now, right?
Yeah, it is. I think my issue is right now is that TSM, they had a really strong early game. They took the first target very quickly, just very quickly accrued that massive gold lead. But it's beginning to drop off a little bit. And I feel like that they should be doing more to take control of Rogue's jungle. Because we're seeing Sibs picking up his backs every single time. I feel like that shouldn't be happening. And you're just letting Rogue back into the game very slowly. They just need to be a little bit more aggressive. I can't believe I'm saying this, but if they just take control of the jungle, it makes it so much more difficult for Hammy and Sibs because they have to decide on how they want to split the gold at that point.
Well, Shingy, one of the things I've been watching here in the last few minutes, Best Chuck did grab an infusion that was timed out. I'm not sure what level, it was like a level 8 infusion. And now we see Flash halfway through his infusion. They really haven't made much happen. Von C just pops his own infusion. So, I mean, what's this mean for them if they're not able to capitalize on this?
Well, they tried to capitalize. There was a brief moment where they did go for a fight. It just wasn't very successful. I think that's one where Flash X was forced to back off. So what they just need to do is they're trying to bait Rogue into the jungle. I don't think Rogue's taking it. They're just staying very firmly in their lane, only going to the jungle if they know there's no one there. I think Sibs is the only one that we're seeing venturing down into his own jungle. Because he's got that stealth, he is able to creep away, whereas Hammy and Evo don't have that privilege of being able to do so. So I feel like we've come to a bit of an impasse between the two teams, not much is happening, and that's just playing right into Rogue's hands. If they just keep going on like this, we're seeing, oh, Best Chuck.
I'm not sure Sibs has landed the one shot onto his target every time, but he hasn't missed with it. So he continues to just throw these out. It's very Von C, or reminiscent of Von C Kestrel playstyle. The way he's throwing those one-shots out. But we do see the level 9 infusion onto Hammy. Evil stepping forward. Koshka getting pretty good damage. It looks like Rogue gonna try and back up here. Yummy kind of frenzy is gonna be blocked off. Hammy kiting backwards. Stealth Sibs, but that's not long enough. Sibs is down. And that was the Atlas Pauldron out by Evil, but not slowing down TSM enough. Force to Cord pulls him back. Hammy trying to make some damage happen. I don't think they need like 2 Hammies at this point to make it happen. Prove me wrong, Hammy. He's rooted up here. Chop down, double kill for Best Chuck. Ace for Team SOLOMID.
Ace for Team SOLOMID, and actually it was a very good fight at the start, dare I say, for Rogue, because we saw Von C, he was sitting at the Treant's position, just jumping over the wall into Hammy with a Yummy kind of frenzy, and it got blocked. But it did leave Von C in a terrible positioning, and actually it was a really good opportunity for TSM to turn that around, sorry, for Rogue to turn that around. However, that's where I'm pointing Sib's positioning is that he was actually right beside Chuck NA the whole time, just getting a lot of damage taken down. He wasn't able to do much. He was just trying to run away, and it was a good opportunity. I just don't think Rogue completely capitalized on it. It was a nice response that they had to the attack that Von C just put out, but didn't retaliate the way I wanted them to.
It felt like, for me, when they walked into that tri-brush, that they didn't have full knowledge of where Team SOLOMID was, and they couldn't really react. Like, the moment TSM was on top of Evil, it was just like a full retreat from them, of which they couldn't set up with an active camo, or, you know, get a really nice clean engage that they would be hoping for. But it does show that Rogue's feeling a little more confident about their movement across the map.
Yeah, they are. And well, we're seeing Evil just pick up 4 flares. Then I think in terms of scout traps, we've been seeing some put out, but they're being put on quite the obvious places, so it's been quite easy for for Flash X just to set them off every single time. And we're just seeing that those scout traps being placed down by him, and he's got quite good vision across the whole map. Well, certainly surrounding the Kraken pit anyway. Oh, Best Chuck every single time.
Every time right here, right? Sibs slap and flash with some of those glimmer shots. Force the Cord is going to come out, blocked off there, so no harm, no foul. And Von C jumps forward. He's going to miss that out camo. Oh no, Sibs, I saw what you wanted to do. It just didn't come through for him.
You gonna question him this time? Are you gonna question him?
No, there's no question. We knew what he was trying to do. It's just Von C was quite slippery.
I'm gonna question it.
Uh-oh.
He was in stealth and he went back to try and land the active camel stun. Not a good idea, especially if we've got Koshka who's able to dance around it every single time. So that's why I'm going to be questioning here.
Oh, the real questions.
Real questions.
I
Easy
get it.
questions.
I get what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying, but you don't want to question him, so...
But it's like, it's like he was going, it felt like he was going to die, no matter what happened. So, like, he was basically, you know what, I'm going to activate this camera right here. We're going to make
you
the
have
play.
a glass empty kind of person, aren't you, Humanist? I can tell.
That's right.
That's right.
You know it.
Well,
All
it's
right.
9-2. It's 9-2.
Let's see this. Let's see this active camo into the Force to Cord, into the core collapse, into the ultimate combo here. I just want to see someone get shredded.
And the quibble as well. You said this at the very start. There's a really obvious wombo combo that we can see coming out from Rogue. I haven't actually seen even the slightest glimmer of that wombo combo.
Not even a glimmer shot of the wombo combo.
Position.
Yeah, Force to Cord's come out, blocked off again. Kraken taking pretty good damage. TSM trying to think what they want to do, and they're right back in. That's going to be the NPL landing. Sip standing his ground, but it is not enough here. Hammy's trying to make these healers go supernova. He's low on energy. They only have 1 turret remaining here, Shingy. This looks like TSM trying to close this game out. Good chance they should be able to do it here as Von C's on the backside of this Vein Crystal. And Hammy just doesn't quite have the damage here. I don't think Von C gets it. Well, game 1. All right, there you go. Going to TSM. Rogue put up a very good fight. They made a couple, you know, small mistakes along the way, but you could see like they actually looked pretty clean for a good portion of that game.
They definitely did. I think for the start they did well to defend against the pressure that TSM were applying. There was definitely a bit in the mid game you're like, okay, this is actually going really well for Rogue because nothing really is happening from TSM. But I think there was just a few key fights. I think they've got the macro play, but when it comes to those team fights, I think TSM is just coming out on top every single time. And I think that's the biggest issue here.
Yeah, it definitely was. Well, let's go ahead and have this broken down by our friends over at the analyst desk, and maybe they can let us know, you know, what went wrong, what could Rogue have done better?
Thank you very much, guys. All right, so Rogue not quite able to weather the storm of the TSM early game. They did have that one moment right at the beginning, I was like, oh, Rogue Sibs, he was able to kill Von C. Maybe they can do this, but that was short-lived.
Yeah, definitely short-lived. Team SOLOMID played their composition the way they wanted to. There was that little lull in the mid-game where you were wondering, are they going to actually continue putting the pressure on, or were they kind of backing off a little bit? But then they eventually got their groove back, put the pressure back on, and were able to close out the game.
Yeah, once they lost a turret at 750 in the game, that was huge for an early in composition, and that's where Rogue really struggled there. They had to keep the turret at the 8 to 10 minute mark and not lose that first turret.
Yeah, that is a very good point. Let's have a look at a replay real fast, though. You can see here around 13:40, a fight where TSM just runs through Rogue.
Yeah, this is a fight that basically definitely snowballs and turns the tide completely, because getting an ace on a team that's late game allows TSM to get the next turret here. And it just puts them way ahead in the lead. And you can see that TSM farmed up and decided to do this fight once Von C got tier 2 armor and tier 2 shield. Like, I love Von C's itemization because he is a front line. He's going to jump in. He's going to take damage. If you have tier 1 armor and shield together, you're reducing damage by 33%. If you have tier 2 armor and tier 2 shield together, you're reducing damage by 55% from both weapon and crystal damage. So that was brilliant. Once he got that defense power spike, so to speak, they then decided to go aggressive.
Yeah, and that was definitely smart decision-making coming in from Team SOLOMID. On the other side, I think we do need to talk a little bit about the draft again. Rogue, it seemed like they had a plan. They knew what they wanted to do. But not banning Koshka seems like maybe it was a little bit too far.
I mean, they clearly wanted to shoot for the late game, and they tried to execute it on it as best as they could. The problem with building a late game composition is so much of getting to the late game relies on your opponents allowing it to happen as well. There is some of it is the way you play and trying to gravitate a game towards that direction. But if your opponents are just being constantly aggressive and are able to find kills or able to get into your jungle and just ruin that plan, then there's not a whole lot that you can actually do because you're very likely going to be falling behind.
Yeah, and Rogue had the right mindset. They minion candy their sentry, and they try to fight with it whenever it came out. But TSM just executed their comp so well. When Gwen landed her Buckshot Bonanza onto Kestrel, Von C went in, because Kestrel was reviewed for 2 seconds. And if only if only every team does that against Kestrel, Kestrel is basically completely countered at that point, and they did that every time to kill Kestrel. So very, very well done.
All right, well, we are into draft number 2 for the series. Rogue have taken Grumpjaw off the fold for their first ban. Why is Grumpjaw getting banned all the time?
Grumpjaw is meta. He is extremely strong as a support, as a crystal, and as a weapon carrier. So that's why I was surprised EU didn't even ban or pick it at all. It seems like they're 2 weeks behind, right?
Were you really surprised?
Now they're playing Flicker, but that's like 2 week ago meta, right? So now Grumpjaw is the meta. Lance being banned, the Dodgeo makes sense here. TSM is probably gonna take the Lyra, I'm assuming, and then probably ban Flicker. Is probably what they're going to do here. Or they might take Flicker and ban Lyra. We'll see what they want to do. But I have a feeling they'll probably take the Lyra here.
Lyra certainly proving to be a very strong hero still, and it is going to be locked in. Glaive the ban, though, not the Flicker.
Okay.
They're going to let the Flicker through, because I assume when it comes back to them, it's a chance that they might lock in the Fortress, because it's such a strong pick right now, but that would be giving the Flicker over to Rogue. And I'm not sure if they're actually going to look to pick up a Flicker with the Lyra, because it's just, while Flicker is very strong and there are compositions that it works really well with, Lyra doesn't really need the Flicker to be setting up kills, and that's usually why you go for the Flicker pick, is so that you can set up kills with the rest of your team.
Yeah, Flicker would be good here with Lyra lane, honestly, because of his slow. She can leave the sigil up for the damage, but decide to offer Gwen, who is actually the meta and strongest weapon power carry right now because of that tension bow build and tension bow buff.
All right, well, Rogue, if they want to, can pick that Flicker now.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people are like, okay, Gwen, Buckshot Bonanza reveals a Flicker. Can be a bit of a problem. The problem is you can only Buckshot so much. You only got so much energy. Flicker gets to go invisible for free if he's using his perk. And his ultimate means that, unless you've got scout traps to know where they're coming from, you got a Buckshot in all 4 directions every time if you want to have a good idea.
Could be a Flicker Rona here, which is what Rogue is really, really good with. That's their composition that they are very confident on. They could also offer a Black Feather instead of the Rona, but I think most likely they'll probably pick with the Flicker with the Rona here because it makes a lot of sense with Adagio, and this is a comp that they win really strong with when they're on A side here.
Could also be Black Feather substitute for the Rona. I think would work as well. Able to get through bright bulwarks and can block out Ace's highs if you can time it properly. There's going to be the Flicker. I'm not surprised at all to see that. Again, I still personally feel like the Flicker Adagio is the strongest lane captain combo you can have in the game at the moment.
It's certainly pretty strong. I mean, we saw Flicker earlier today doing some work. We've seen Adagio do work for a long time now, even after the nerfs on the update. 3 seconds of bonus time, Idris.
Ooh.
So not Blackfeather, not the Rona, it's an Idris. Talk to me about why maybe they went for the Idris here.
Well, Idris has so much burst damage, and when he jumps in without taking damage, he has a 3.5 second barrier, which scales with his weapon ratio. So he can get like a 300 plus barrier with a weapon ratio barrier, so up to like 500 barrier, and he can delete Gwen if he can combo his Chakram. So his Chakram, sorry. So you can actually make the Chakram hit 4 times and pass you 2 times if you use your A and then your O and you time it properly. So Skye is a very interesting choice here because Flicker and Idris can jump on Skye and can kill her because she's really squishy and has low health. So if Vonsi doesn't build defense, he can get deleted by Adagio and Idris.
Yeah, the Skye, not a pick we've seen a lot from Team SOLOMID, especially recently. I mean, there have been a few players that have picked up Skye in Split 1 and recently, but it seems to have come back a little bit more after the update. Is there a reason why Skye is suddenly so much more popular?
I'm not sure if there's really much of a reason why, particularly on this update as opposed to last update. I felt Skye was a strong pick on 2.2, and it's now starting to really see some play here on 2.3. A lot of it is probably just the shift in who else is being played, and that's what's really allowing Skye to shine.
Yeah, and Skye, once she gets Frostburn, gets her mid-game to late-game power spike, if you look at her ability for Barrage and with the target lock and Broken Myth, she actually does the most damage per second for a jungle carry once she has that 3-atom build, and that makes her extremely dangerous in the late game.
All right, predictions coming from you guys.
My heart says Rogue, my mind says TSM.
Rogue has such a good draft, so hopefully they can take this game, but I think TSM is going to execute the team fight better.
All right, let's find out if they can make it happen. We've got Humanist and Jingyi with the call.
All right, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are loaded onto the fold. Game 2, Rogue versus Team SOLOMID. And the analysts have said Rogue win the draft, but they still not really believing in them. Let's see what they can do here early on. We might be having this clash, and Sib's going to be throwing that Chakram out looking for a target. Evil moves forward. He's doing some slow damage there, but not too much. Sib's on the front line, eating a lot of damage himself as both teams trading back and forth. Sibs might be left for dead on the backside. Indeed, he is. That's going to be your first blood, and now Team SOLOMID moving forward, boosted up by that Sigil. It's not fair. Why they boosted with that Sigil? Hammy, you're going to be able to live? Yes, he will. Look at these guys. TSM starting off strong.
I know they did. I love how Hammy didn't use his heal on Evil at all the whole time. Very Evil.
What are you gonna do, right? Oh, Evil!
Yeah.
Evil! No! Evil! No! Oh no, Evil!
We were just talking about him. Oh, see? Hammy didn't save him again.
It's alright, I'm sure nobody clipped that.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, I just don't know if that's a fight you want to be picking in the first place. I get that the Flicker and the Dajo combination very strong in the early game. But when you've got Lyra on the other team, there's a really good reason why she is such a priority ban and a priority pick, especially in the early game. If everyone just clumps up in at the start, you've got this great area of effect heal that works so well, and I just don't think that was a skirmish that you should have been looking for. They've lost 2 already.
Yeah, it feels like they were really trying to get the Flicker up on the front line. Yeah, maybe get some Gift of Fire burning, but also get that Dragon Blood contract procced off. Yeah, the stuff didn't really come together, so they fell a little flat. Flash must have an idea that Evil is hanging out here. Evil is going to go ahead and back up, throws his own flare out, being very cautious here.
Very, very cautious indeed. This is a composition from Rogue that's going to play a lot on the slows. So you have the Gift of Fire on Hammy, depending on if he uses it on himself or not, and then you've also got the binding, not the binding light. What's am I on about?
What, the Fairy Dust?
Fairy Dust.
Fairy Dust.
I was like, I feel like, yeah, the
Did
Fairy
you see
Dust.
that?
I didn't see that. What happened?
Evil just sniped off the Elder Treant from Von C, just walked in, just took it
Cheeky.
right at the end. But it let Von C do
Very
all the
cheeky.
work too, just dirty plays.
Very. I think that composition is going to work really well, especially going to Best Chuck and especially Von C. So Von C, I think this is a really good tactical move against his particular playstyle, which is super aggressive, and on that Sky. So even though there's a lot of mobility there, if you can slow it down, and I think the Fairy does something like a 65% slow for like 2 seconds. So if they can land that on Von C, it just puts Sibs in fantastic position just to, well, Sibs and Hammy themselves actually, just to get the damage down on Von C.
Yeah, exactly. Controlling where these guys are approaching the fight from is very important. Sibs, you're going to have to get back. Shabstab is not enough. He goes down. Von C with that 3-strike forward. He's got that forward barrage. Evol trying to do some body blocking. Woo! Hammy does live. We assume it's all calculated when we talk about our friends such as Hammy and Sibs. Just kidding. That was very close to him dying.
Well, it's 3-0 there for TSM actually, not for Rogue. And I feel like Hammy's a bit in a sticky position there. He's trying to clear that wave, but he can't really do too much because he's very, very low. Also very reluctant to get those heals down. There it is. And only a little bit of damage goes on to that first turret there from TSM. I'm a bit... So this Idris, I know Dowsy loves Idris. Like, absolutely loves it. I just don't think early game wise, so we've got kind of a nice combination of early game and a little bit more late game heroes on the side of Rogue, and I feel like they're not really sure how to play that combination out right now. So Sibs is just focusing on farming, and then Hammy and Evil, I think, just in the lane are really beginning to struggle, and I think it would help a lot for Sibs to go up there, but he also needs to be able to get that jungle. It's a difficult position for them to be in, but there you go.
It really is.
Never mind.
Evol stealthed, and he's got the Dragon Blood onto Best Chuck. Nobody able to follow up on top of that. Very tough position to be in. I mean, you make the rotation up with Sibs, you'd really like to be able to capitalize on, especially in a 2 versus 3 situation like that.
It's oh wait, hang on. Yeah, I just feel like Evil is not really getting the best time on that flicker there, is what I was going to say. In that we're seeing a bit of vision being thrown down with Flash. You've also got Best Chuck with his buckshot that can expose him and show where he is, which takes away a lot of the stealth element away from him. And Flash X, it would not surprise me if he picked up the contraption, and like the major counter against Flicker is that contraption or just any vision. And what we should be seeing is Rogue capitalizing on this before he picks up any vision, just so they can get that element of surprise down. We're not really seeing any of that. They're playing quite passively with that Flicker there. I don't really like that.
Yeah, I don't like it either, but one of the things when you're playing up against the stealth target is, maybe we have an engagement here, is just game sense. And knowing how to play that hero to a high level is very important when it comes to predicting where that hero is going to be. We know that Flash plays the Flicker almost better than anyone right now, so it makes it that much harder for Evil. Right now, he is going to be stealthed up to the top side. Best Chuck taking some pretty good damage here. Can they follow up? And Von C trading out with Sibs down in the jungle as well. Best Chuck trading with Hammy. They're going to be able to get a kill onto the board here. Sibs chasing Von C back into the depths of his jungle as Evil maybe thinking about dropping down. He's not quite sure what he wants to do. Sibs able to take up the mid here, and he moves up into the lane as well. I'm not sure if they can really apply too much pressure here. What do you think?
I don't think they can. They just clear that wave. Gwen's already halfway there to the lane. They can probably get a bit of damage down on turret, but they're not going to be able to take it anytime soon. They're also not going to be able to get the gold mine there either. Probably a good idea. Actually, maybe I'll have to eat my words, because that turret's going down quite fast.
Yeah, but Von C has made his rotation up here. It's going to get boosted up by the Sigil, moving forward, looking for a target. Is it just me, or are you excited to see Von C on some CP Sky?
I am excited, but I think CP Sky is one of those heroes right now. I think Tasty Bacon was saying on the desk, like, I just don't really know why she's in the meta right now. I think she's good. She's not my preferred pick. I like him more on the Koshka. I think CP Sky suits his playstyle very well. Actually, Sibs is a bit of a rocky position here.
It's alright, I'll pretend like you didn't say that, and we can still be friends right here. Look at that forward barrage connecting. Von C trying to back up. Now that was the Fountain forced out of Team SOLOMID, so a pretty large advantage to Rogue as they're holding their own. Plus, without a dodge, they still have that heal. And we can see if they can get on target. Maybe they want to do some work. And it's Team SOLOMID back into their jungle. And now the question is, this turret's very low. How much pressure does Rogue look to apply here?
I think they should just back away a little bit. If they can try and get that turret down, just relying on Idris and relying on the heals coming from Hammy, then that's good. But I don't think they should go full out offensive, because when they're full out offensive, I just don't think they're as confident as TSM would be when they're full out offense. But actually, with Flash,
this is a moment.
There,
yeah,
this is it.
They have the moment. This is a very nice read from Rogue. They make it happen. They jump in. They see the teleports. They jump in. That was, I mean, you were kind of like touching on why they needed to be a little bit cautious there, but in that moment, they make the read and take that turret. It's very smart plays out of Rogue.
I'm surprised TSM, both of them just went away. I'm surprised Sky didn't go up to the lane there because they knew how low that turret was. They saw how much damage that Rogue were doing to that turret earlier, and I'm just surprised that they just didn't leave 2 people up in the lane because whilst Flash on that Lyra, very good roamer, you're not going to be able to clear a wave against all 3 members of Rogue.
Oof. Well, right now, Rogue are pretty happy about that turn of events. Does bring them a little bit closer in net worth with Team SOLOMID. You know, TSM definitely still in an advantage here. But we do, once again, this is the same as last game. We're seeing a level 6, very early infusion out of Best Chuck. Do you like it?
I like it, but only if they were picking fights. But TSM, they've been very cautious this game. I don't think we've been seeing as much aggression coming out from this game as we were in the last game, and I think part of that does come into the composition, but the build says otherwise to me. If I'm looking at Best Chuck NA, I'm seeing that tension, but not really seeing too much use coming out from it, apart from just farming. Von C, he had some flashy moments at the start, but he too has calmed down a lot. And they're going for these infusions quite early on, but it only really works if they try and capitalize on it.
We'll see what they're going to try and do with it. Now, Von C does have quite a bit of damage, and I can't remember if it was Suijay who was touching on the fact that it's still a very strong carry out of the jungle here. No, oh, he's going to be stunned up. Von C trying to find damage onto the target. Forward barrage is there with Best Chuck's low as well. Well, Sibs, he's on target. Can he get him with the shotgun? Tries to get it. Not enough. Oh, at the end, they will take Flash out. Now, Hanny, bit left for dead there. Evil can't really do anything. And, well, 2-for-1 trade in favor of Team SOLOMID.
Oh.
It's Evil's safest way out of that one there.
I thought he was going to be a bit bold.
Yeah, he thought he was going to get onto Best Chuck.
He might still go into Best Chuck. Oh, he's going.
Oh, he's going. Evil.
Oh, he's going.
Evil, make the plays, my man. Fairy Dust is there. The Binding Light as well. Evil.
Oh my gosh.
He's a 2v1. Oh, get him, Evil. The Forward Barrage is there. Oh, the Frostburn's going to slow him up just enough. Frostburn OP. They get the turret, all right? I mean, that was pretty godly. That was his only choice, though, right?
Yeah, I really want him to get the kill on Von C as well. That would have been incredible. But it looks like they're going to get the gold mine off the back of this. Evil might die.
Woo!
No, he's not.
Evil. It's just a hairline of a sliver of health right there. Flash throws out that sigil. Pretty cheeky plays out of Flash. He's going to pop off that scout trap as well. So a very good job. And Team SOLOMID, they're not able to defend that gold miner, but you know, doing pretty good work.
Well, nobody really took it, so it okay. But if you look at the gold difference at 10 minutes, what is it, 800 gold? I think this point last game it was like 5k gold. I think looking just at the compositions and looking at how the game is playing out, this is where it's going to start getting good for TSM. So even though we've got that tension mode being built on Best Chuck NA and it's a little bit early game, and then fusions have run out, and I think I'm mainly going to say this because of the flicker, is that the more you push down the turrets, the harder it is for Flicker to really get stealth the Will-O-Wisp down in the bush, because there are just no bushes to hide in.
True. It's true. And,
Indeed. Yeah.
you know, when it goes the other way, like they took a turret as well, that does open up the map for them as well. I think Flash has just done a very good job of controlling vision. Like, right after that goldmine fight, his first move was just dropping into the brush, just clearing out scout traps. And as long as he can continue to do that, it's going to really hinder what Evil can do.
It is really hindering. We can see that he just walked into that bush. They knew exactly where he was the whole time. Flicker, I think he's one of those early game heroes that can, if you can get that, just that early lead, then that's fantastic. But I think they never really got that super strong lead that they were looking for. You know, they were just kind of clutching here. But especially now that contraption there on Flash X, and also with that first turret down, it makes things a lot more difficult. Because if we look at the map, there's certainly a lot more scout traps being put down by Flash X now.
Yeah, a lot of scouts coming down. Did we touch on this Atlas Pauldron coming out of Flash?
No, I thought you were going to talk. We haven't actually.
Do you like that pickup here? I mean, the thing is like it determines your play style very much when it's on a Lyra, because she is, you know, pretty squishy, but she's building up a lot of health here, so she has to get into a position to get that Atlas off.
It makes sense for Idris, because Idris, especially weapon Idris, his skills, a lot of them are mobility based. So if you can get that teleport onto him and just snare him, that's actually really good, because you can land the pauldrons, you snare him in place, and that takes away a lot of the damage coming out from Sibs. So Sibs 0 for 3-1, I think that says a lot. FlashX is doing a good job. No, I'm not saying anything bad about Sibs, but I'm just saying that FlashX is doing a very good job
Better
of trying
not
to land
be.
those. Sorry, Humans. I'll just stop talking.
Don't. Never stop. Never stop. Well,
Can't stop, won't stop.
get it, get it. Team Solo Mid moving up from the tri-brush here, forward barrage into the bush, a buckshot as well. Flash on the front side of this fight, trying to get that Atlas off, but Flash taking a lot of damage. Death from above, slowing targets down. It's Sibs jumped in and Sibs chopped down. Hammy trying to get on the target, but that is not enough for them. My goodness, Rogue felt like they could take a fight, but things just absolutely going the other way.
I think the part of the reason is they were just going into Flash X every single. They were just throwing everything they did at Flash X, and the whole time you've got Vonsi and Best Chuck NA, who have a level 11 of Crystal Infusion and a level 9 Open Infusion. You don't want to be going for Flash X. He is just doing his job, being a distraction, just taking the damage from Rogue. You want to be going to Vonsi or your Best Chuck NA. I would actually say Vonsi is probably their main target that they should be going for in the fights, and I just think that Evil wasn't able to get into position just to land that slow onto them, because if they did, I think that was a fight that Rogue could have won.
I agree with you. I do think Von C would be the best
thank
target
you.
for them. Especially, it makes sense with the whole toolset, that the kit that comes with Idris, right? Like, he's able to be very mobile, stick to a target. He has great damage. If they can get onto Von C, that's going to be really good. Things just getting tougher, though, because with this Eve of Harvest coming out, now Von C is going to be a little bit, more survivable through these fights. And he has the damage output. If they can get on him, though, they can take him down.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But right now, that's not happening. They're just going to Flash X every single time. Vonsi and Best Chuck in are just pretty much free to do what they want. And as Vonsi, he's also got that Eve of Harvest as well. So Sib's taking so much damage!
Sibs can't do anything. Suri strike forward. Vonsi's got the target lock. He's got that forward barrage damage. Sib's trying to jump in. Evil, he's trying to frontline for his team. It's not enough. The healing's coming out, but Rogue is melting here. And Sibs trying to get out of this one. Evol's going to be down. It looks like Sibs will get chased down as well. Oh my goodness. Ace
That's
for
an
Team
ace.
Solo Mid, 10-3. And right on cue, we're going to have Kraken coming out.
Yep, and that is going to be the Kraken there. And the first tart taken down, second tart being taken down by Vonsi. So that team fight did not go well for Rogue. And I think the thing is, if you look at that Flicker's not very good at frontlining. And I think that was very apparent in that one. And also, if you look at Von C, he was using his Series Strike just to get on the complete other side of Hammy and Sibs, and Evil was struggling to get into position to just body block that one. And that is why Von C should be the main target. If they can just come down and just burst him down as well. But we're not seeing much burst coming out from Rogue at all. If you look at their items, they're not going for that burst damage. They're going for those prolonged fights. And I'm going to disagree on that point, because I think they should be going for burst, just for burst, and just try and take down TSM as fast as possible.
So without
that's
getting
not
into
happening.
it too much, I mean, just real quickly, you said you'd prefer burst. What would the item build be instead? Hold on, might have a fight here. Vonsi taking pretty good
We have
damage.
a fight.
That's the target that they wanted right here. Evil, he's on the front side. He does get the fountain out. Sib's trying to retreat here as Vonsi jumps back in with that Suri strike.
they don't.
Vonsi's low. Evil maybe can get him. No, that's going to be another Suri over the top side. Double kill. Another ace, and TSM just in complete control.
And that just collapsed there for Rogue. Again, they went on Flash X first, but I wouldn't say that's entirely their fault, because they were fighting in a channel. They don't really have the mobility that the Sky has, so they can't really just jump to the other side of them. So the only person that they can really land any damage on is Flash X. And it looks like this could be it. 16-minute game.
Yeah, looks like this is going to be it right here. Barring Sibs hacking the
Sibs.
game and figuring out some way to just disconnect everybody. But yeah, this is going to be Team Solo Mid going ahead, taking the series 2-0. I think most people would have expected the TSM take this series. It was definitely a dominant fashion, though.
It's very dominant. I think up to 10 minutes. Up to 10 minutes was actually pretty close. So I think I remember saying 800 gold between the two teams. But it was when TSM got to the mid-game, late game, the team fights just were flawless coming out from TSM. I'm putting a lot of that down to Von C. I'm sorry, Von C, about what I said about your Crystal Sky earlier. I take
should
it
be.
back. I'm very sorry about that. Very sincerely sorry about that. It was his mobility. There was a lot in Rogue's arsenal that they could use to slow them down. I just didn't see that happening. We saw Evil attempting to go in with the Fairy Dust, and there wasn't much follow-up there from Rogue. And I think that's what the main issue was.
Yeah, Exactly. I mean, we could sit here and break it down. I do think Von C did an incredible job. It's great to see him on the CP Sky. But that's going to be the series here, at least for this matchup. So with that, let's go ahead and throw it back over to our analyst desk.
All right, TSM take a 2-0 series over Rogue. In that game, we saw Sky from Von C. I think that's something I definitely want to talk about. Sky, not a pick we saw a ton of leading up to this. We mentioned that earlier on. But what surprises me more, I guess, just how well Von C played it. I don't know why, because he's a great player, but
It's just not a pick that we normally know him for.
Exactly.
It's not one of those aggressive, in-your-face junglers that we usually see him playing.
Yeah, he's definitely normally more of the Kashka kind of player, but we've got a replay ready for you guys. You can see early on, around 13 minutes here, a fight where Flash actually face checks this bush.
This is a key fight. Von C checks with the 4 barrage and then starts getting stacks. And in here, you can see Flash actually use the fountain himself, but look at the focus from Chuck and Von C right onto Wizardship, who has basically no defense with a tier 1 shield, able to delete the Idris and then get the Adagio. I mean, that was a great play, but that just shows you that they're kind of engaging the Flicker comp first. You don't want the Flicker comp to engage you, so they did a really good job of playing more aggressive.
And the other thing is, what along the lines of the always engaged Flicker comp, is the caster was saying, there's a lot of slows coming up from Rogue, but they weren't able to really use them. And it's because like the slows from Flicker and the slow from Adagio, if he's able to put it down, it's typically being used if they're chasing you. Like, that's where it's most effective. If they're trying to run from you, those slows become significantly less effective.
All right, let's have a look at another replay. You can see the last fight of the game here. Kraken's already spawned. TSM are just trying to make some space for him.
The damage from Von C is just immense. And again, engaging onto Flicker, not allowing them to use those slows effectively because they're trying to kite away from you instead. And it doesn't work. That's how you play against a Flicker. Stay grouped up, so that Flicker can't just pick you off and be the ones making the aggressive moves.
Yeah, and they did a good job because when Flicker engages, you got to fight back twice as hard, and they didn't just run. Von C just 4 barrage and be like, ugh, and he just got all that broken mid stacks, the Eve heal. He did such a good job, like, outplaying in that fight there.
All right, let's have a look at the brackets so you can see how things are developing here. Team SOLOMID, the first team from North America to move forward to the semifinals. They're going to be playing the winner of Tribe and 101. Next up, though, our match is going to be Immortals versus Gankstars. Very exciting stuff. I have to admit, Gankstars, with the amount of strong performances they had in Split 1, on paper got to be the favorites. I'm sorry, Sweet. But I'm sure Immortals been practicing up. They're likely going to be bringing their A game. It's a question of, can they make it work for them against Gankstars? We're going to do a giveaway real quick. If you want to win some epic keys, go ahead and type into the chat the name of